Alrighty, good morning everyone. I would like to welcome you to City Council's Wednesday meeting for the new year. We will start our meeting now.
No, Mike's not here.
Oh, sorry, we can't start the meeting. Our clerk is not present. I didn't realize. We're all ready to go and looks like we can't get started and we're supposed to be patient. Mel, we were told that he's new to this.
Right.
I didn't even realize. We're just so ready. Sorry, Mike. We were a little rushed. We'll rewind and restart.
Hey, Mike.
Some more water?
I'm teasing. Trying to get you to relax.
Alrighty, we'll restart while Mike gets himself situated. Thank you everyone for joining us today for the new meeting of the new year. Today we have a reorganization happening after we shortly start where we'll be electing our new president. So I will start.
Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, January 8th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon, and Flores.
Alrighty, I will ask for everyone to please stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to name the young woman who lost her life at the beginning of the year. It is so tragic, and I send my condolences and sympathies to the family. To start the new year on such a tragic note is not going to be easy for that family or the young people who knew her and seeing that life's light slowly shut down. So I would like to start the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam President, can I, before you do that,
Go ahead.
I just want to say that actually that family is my family.
Okay.
And there was actually 3 deaths like within 3 weeks, so I was one of them. So just thanks for you. Keep the family in your prayer.
Madam President, I would also, I don't think it's,
Still not on, I'm sorry.
They are.
It's very difficult.
It's just not picking up. They're on.
I want to bring aware of January. I don't know if it's Suicide Awareness Month. I didn't look it up. But my father, as a police officer, would say January was a difficult time because of suicides after the holidays. It's a letdown time sometimes, and I just want to have it acknowledged to check on your loved ones as best as you can. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to accept the minutes of the December 18th, 2024 meeting and the bills for payment on January 10th and the 17th of 2025. Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon, and Flores. At this time, we have a resolution sponsored by Councilmember Brzezinski nominating Councilmember Witherspoon as City Council President for 2025.
Call for the vote.
Councilmembers Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon, and Flores.
I think that's a majority. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Next, we have a resolution sponsored by, oh, sorry. Okay.
You want to put that over here? Yeah, let me. Okay, so you
Meeting's adjourned.
Not as fast as me.
Man, I like that. You're better than that. You're all right.
I want to thank President Flores for the outstanding leadership she provided to council and to the citizens of Erie, Pennsylvania. I'd like to present this plaque on behalf of council for a job well done. Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution sponsored by Councilmember Ed Brzezinski nominating City Councilmember Tyler Titus as Council Vice President for 2025. Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, and Witherspoon.
Got it again, majority. Congratulations, Doug.
All right. I'd like to thank my colleagues for their vote of confidence. And in all my training and leadership, the key to being a good leader is to become a good listener. And that's what I plan to do. A leader is only as effective as the people around him or her. We have a multitude of talent. Of course, we have to make decisions that affect 50% positive, 50% negative, and that's not bad when you're 50-50. But every decision we make is for the citizens of Erie, Pennsylvania. That is important. We don't make decisions, we shouldn't make decisions based on our own feelings, and definitely no rewards shall we receive. We are here for the city of Erie, for the citizens. That's our goal. We have a multitude of talent, we have educators, we have Councilman Nelson, who works with a lot of indigenous people. He's very sharp. He has a sharp mind. And he is persistent. And that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So the background of your council is very, very good. And with that, I would say to citizens to be heard, you have 5 minutes. Please give us your name, You don't have to give the address. Just tell us that you're in the city, you're in the county. We don't need your address. Please speak into the mic. You have 5 minutes. I'd also like to remind you that we have a public hearing scheduled for 9:30. So wherever we are in public hearing at 9:30, we will go into our public hearing, and then we will return to citizens to be heard.
Mr.
Please.
What's the presentation?
May I break in a
Yes.
second? Nobody has said anything about the hardest working vice president that I've ever seen. This lady speaks from the heart 99.5% of the time, but she loves everybody in the city and she works. I don't think you missed a meeting the whole year, and I'm very proud of the job you did. I just wanted to take a minute to say that.
Yes, she did
Big
an
shoes to fill, Mr.
outstanding
President.
job.
I'm done.
And I need to add that there's 2 projects that's dear to her heart: the homeless and toilet facilities in Perry Square. And she's been fighting for that for a long time. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Shaw. And now we'll start the citizens to be heard. Please line up over here. Give us your name.
Mr. President, just as your newly elected vice chair, I just want to make sure that, do we have a presentation or any repository sales before we go into the public comment?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Do that now. Okay. Are there any repository sales? Are there any repository sales? Finally, are there any repository sales to be heard? Hearing none, citizens to be heard.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Congratulations. I've been a fan here since I was 10 years old, so we're getting up in the years, many fine memories. And I'm sure my dad would like to play around a golf with you sometime when you get up in the back 19. But I live at 516 E6, and the reason I say that is I moved in there in October, and I was in homeless shelters for 7 months. And I have to tell you, it was a great experience as far as learning who I am and where I'm at and where I want to be. It wasn't at times easy, but I always felt safe there. I could get a shower, I could get a place to lay my head, a place to eat, a place to talk to people. And Erie is very, very blessed with places like the Upper Room. I've had a cup of coffee there many times. The stairs get me, but I get up there. Erie is very blessed as far as people that give to others. And I really appreciate that. And I hope to give back too. Sometimes I come up here and I spit and sputter. I want to feel good about Erie. I want us all to feel, because things could be worse. It's a tough, tough economy. And you all have a lot of things you have to discuss and really figure out how you're going to do it. And we thank you all for taking the time that you've taken. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice hat, too.
Good morning. My name's Freda Tepfer. I live in the city of Erie, and I'd like to congratulate President Witherspoon and Vice President Titus. And so one of the, you think we don't even have to think about this. We're done with elections for a while, but I just want to remind people that if they want to run to be a poll worker, to be a city, county council, mayor, county executive, school board, any number of things, or to be on this commission that may get formed in the next month or so, you have to be registered to vote. in the primary. You have to be registered in the primary, in the party, if you're running for partisan office. And I think petition signature starts around February 18th.
Yep.
So you need to get yourself registered ahead of that time if you plan to run for any kind of office at all, including, you know, fire, whatever, out in the county. So just a commercial. I'm here to speak in favor of the tenant landlord ordinance, whatever it's actually called. As I mentioned last time, of particular interest is the fact that the ordinance defines what's considered habitable. And so you have a way to judge whether your apartment or house that you want to rent is habitable. If it doesn't meet those standards, you do have some basis upon which to lodge a complaint or ask for your landlord to make improvements, and to not be threatened with eviction based on that, and to have a process around rent increases. So I really think this is past time, and I hope that the council passes this. I do want to mention, in conjunction with the housing regulations, if we get them, there's also the Human Relations Commission does cover housing as one of the 3 categories, and that's based on disability, it's based on age, it's based on race, all kinds of reasons why you shouldn't be discriminated against in housing, and there's also fair housing regulations. So people should educate themselves about how to protect themselves in the housing area. I was noticing that there's a waste management is on the list of contracts. It's related to the landfill, but it reminds me that no matter how many times I brought it up to council, to the city traffic engineer or the complaint line, waste management continues to not maintain the sidewalk along Raspberry between 18th and the railroad tracks. We're paying them money, we're contracting with them, but they don't maintain our sidewalks. As in the wintertime, one nice example I came across is the metal refinishing place on 18th and Raspberry. They did a nice job of clearing their parking lot, and then they piled the snow on the sidewalk, across the sidewalk. If businesses, churches, schools do not have a right to block the sidewalk with the material they clear from their driveways. The sidewalk, that makes for large piles of snow which take ages to melt. And those should be ticketed. They should be fined. And the city should get revenue for having to ticket them. Likewise, as I've said before, the city should not be piling huge piles of snow up against the corners 4, 6, 8 feet high so that people cannot cross, so that it takes weeks to melt, and that people can't even reach the push buttons for the traffic lights. One more thing. The corner of 2nd and Holland, now that there's going to be a closure of State Street for a while, that makes the need for an all-way traffic stop even more important. That's the place where people have to cross if they're going to go, if they're going to drive, if they're going to walk. And right now, there's no stopping for people who go north-south. So the people who are going east-west don't have a good chance to cross or to find a break in the traffic. And I really wish the city would get something going and put in a stop sign there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I am Melinda Hall. I'm a resident of the city of Erie. On behalf of the Erie Spiritual Coalition, congratulations to our new president, Mr. Witherspoon, and our new vice president, Tyler Titus. We're deeply sorry, Councilman Troop, for your family's loss. We are, though, very excited for the ordinance regarding tenant rights to be for final passage as an ordinance today on the agenda. I am particularly grateful to Councilperson Titus and Councilwoman Schaaf for sponsoring that and doing quite a bit in regards to it, so thank you. I'm grateful to all of you for listening to the voices of a variety of different constituencies across the city, for a lot of public comments. We hope on our side we're peaceable. And so, anyway, we're very much grateful. If you're here today for this issue, I would invite you to just stand to express that. Thank you for coming, and thank you. I know it's not passed yet, but we look forward to it hopefully passing as a great move towards for our city, for both tenants and landlords, for homeowners, for anyone who's concerned about the economic well-being and the human flourishing of every citizen of the city. So thank you for your continued good work. We're grateful.
Thank you.
Are there any other citizens to be heard?
Good afternoon, Michael Keys, City of Erie. I just wanted to bring a couple reminders to City Council. One was when I was on council, we resolved to move $1 million from, I guess would be considered the Quinte budget to the parks budget. It doesn't appear that that change has been made. There's other things we resolved too that, the administration did not take action on when I was on council. And as you see what's happening across the street, you cannot just wave off council's demands because you do not like what council has asked you to do. It's been a bit of a challenge across the street, but it is shaken out on the side that when council resolves and when council passes an ordinance, it is incumbent upon the administration to do what council has asked them to do. I know that's the county, but the same rule of law would be in effect that when a council rules that it would. Absolutely. Second of all, I'd like to thank the council and congratulate Mel on being president again and Tyler on his vice presidency. And so that's all I have for today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's 9:30 and 9:31. We'll move into our public hearing and we will come back to our public comments after the public hearing.
Where are they?
Yes, Jackie, that's you. We're starting the hearing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Good morning.
My name is Ed Betts. I'm the solicitor for the city. We're going to hold two public hearings regarding requests for local designation. The first one is at 411 State Street. The second is at 1372 West 6th Street. Both are, the issue before council is whether or not they should be designated as a historic structure per the provisions of Article 7 of the City of Erie zoning ordinance regarding historic resource protection. Anyone wishing to offer testimony regarding either property, the 411 State Street or the 1372 West 6th Street, I need you to be sworn in. This is a rather informal process, but we still need to take formal testimony. And so we have a court reporter here, but I would need anyone to stand and raise their right hand if they wish to offer testimony regarding those designations of either property.
Do we swear ourselves?
Seeing two.
I do.
And with that, you may proceed.
Christina, yes, also. Okay, we'll do that after, with the second hearing. Okay, thank you, Ed. Good morning, Council. My name is Jackie Spry. I'm the Director of Planning and Neighborhood Resources at the City of Erie. On November 4th, 2024, the city, we're talking about the historic designation for the Old Customs House located on 411 State Street. The Erie Art Museum began in 1898 as the Erie Art Club and was first housed in the basement of the Erie County Library. The organization moved to a couple of different locations in the 20th century until the purchase of the Old Customs House in 1983. The Erie Art Museum completed an expansion in 2010 that provided additional gallery space, offices, educational classrooms, and art storage. The expansion connects directly to the back of the Old Customs House, and the museum continues to use the first and second floors of the Customs House as gallery space. The Erie Art Museum is committed to preserving and maintaining this historic structure. On November 4th, 2024, the City of Erie Historic Review Commission discussed and voted to approve the designation of the Old Customs House as a local historic structure located at 411 State Street in Erie, Pennsylvania. The criteria for the justification of this nomination included: 1, it is associated with an event that is significant to the history of the municipality, commonwealth, or nation. The Old Customs House was built, as I said, in 1839 as a branch of the United States Bank of Pennsylvania. And in what is now known as the Bank War, President Jackson reorganized the bank structure of the USA prior to the establishment of the Federal Reserve in 1913. Number 2, it is representative of broad patterns of development, heritage, or culture of the municipality, commonwealth, or nation. Number 3, it embodies distinctive characteristics of style, type, period, or method of construction of architecture. This structure was designed in Greek Revival style and based upon the Thespian Temple of ancient Athens, which was dedicated to the gods of trade and the arts in 449 BCE. The Old Customs House demonstrates design which is vital, sensitive, and archaeologically correct, according to architectural historian Talbot Hamlin in his 1944 publication, Greek Revival Architecture in America. We have Melanie Vadzemniks, I spelled it out phonetically, the applicant and the development director at the Erie Art Museum to answer any questions you may have on this nomination. We are requesting that council approve this application for full designation as a historic building in the city of Erie.
Mr. President, do I understand this correctly that a bank did it in the style of the Greek god of art, and then the art happened to then take it on?
You are absolutely right.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's just a beautiful coincidence.
Yes, I agree.
I just have a question. With this status of the historical designation, will this levy the museum to be able to apply for grants and funding of that nature?
Absolutely.
All righty, thank you.
I think it's a wonderful thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Any further questions from council?
Is that it for that one? Right. Is there any other individual wishing to offer any testimony regarding the property at 411 State Street?
No.
With that, we will move to the property located at 1372 West 6th Street. And we have another witness who needs to be sworn.
I do.
Please proceed.
Thank you. This designation is for the Erie Day School, which is located at 1372 West 6th Street in Erie, Pennsylvania. Erie Day School's history of education is tied to transcendentalism across North America at the time of inception, as well as its dedicated connection to the physical site and environment which historically and uniquely facilitated learning and nurtured personal development. Established in 1929, the school remains open and is thriving nearly 100 years later. Formulated in large part through efforts by Charles Strong, Erie businessman and community supporter, the school is situated on property once owned by Strong and donated to the Erie Day School organization. Built upon progressive education principles, the school implemented a hands-on learning curriculum which ties to both the surrounding physical environment as well as to the regional places. Field days, gardening days, and farm days were common visitation and work-based experiences for both the students and their parents. By 1949, Erie Day School had received a top rating from the State of Pennsylvania Association of Private Schools. Today, it remains the only independent school in northwestern Pennsylvania that holds accreditation through the Pennsylvania Association of Independent Schools. On September 9, 2024, the City of Erie Historic Review Commission voted to approve the designation of the Erie Day School as a local historic site. The property is located at 1372 West 6th Street in Erie, Pennsylvania. The Planning Commission at the regular meeting on November 19, 2024, upon review of the HRC's recommendation, voted unanimously to recommend designation of the Erie Day School located at 1372 West 6th as a historic resource. Per Article 7 of the zoning ordinance, the map must be amended to reflect this designation. The criteria for designation to Erie Day School is rooted in its national ties to progressive and independent education. It is associated with an event that is significant to the history of the municipality, commonwealth, or nation. As secondary criteria for designation, it is associated with persons of significance to the history of the municipality, commonwealth, or nation. And we are requesting that the council also approve the Erie Day School as a historic site and local designation, the City of Erie. Oh, I'm sorry. Christina Caton is here from the applicant, and also the Director of Development from Erie Day School is here to answer any questions you may have. Christina.
Are there any questions from council? Hearing none, we do thank you. And
with that, is there anyone else wishing to offer testimony last call for either 411 State Street or 1372 West 6th Street? With that, we would close the public hearing, and Mr. President, we can return to citizens to be heard.
Okay, we want to go ahead. Thank you very much, and we appreciate that information, and we'll take action accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will return to citizens to be heard.
Good morning, Marty Wachuku, Erie, I'm a resident of Erie, the city of Erie. Happy New Year to City Council. I look forward to working with you all. I love New Year's as a time to reset and think of things anew. And I actually wanted to use this time to celebrate you all. We are halfway into a new decade. We're a quarter of a century into a new millennia. And I think the work you have done around renters' issues is a good beginning. So I want to celebrate you passing last council meeting, hiring a new renter-specific code enforcement officer. I want to celebrate you all voting unanimously for the Bill of Rights. And I wanted to celebrate, again, even though it was 2 years ago now, the initial passing of the Bill of Rights or rental rights ordinances. I start with these celebrations because I hope that this year you will continue to expand and explore opportunities to support renters. I know that a few of you up here have renters issues as a core issue to your heart, as well as other housing issues. I want to celebrate Chuck. I know you did a lot around zoning issues. Zoning is a huge thing when it comes to having available space and land for renters. So again, just to celebrate you, and Happy New Year, and congratulations to Mel Witherspoon to become president and Tyler Titus to be vice president. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard?
Emerson Bannon, 10 East 34th Street. I just wanted to second a lot of that and express my support for a lot of the work that tenants have been done, and thank Jasmine Flores for her tenure as City Council President. Wish luck for the new leadership of City Council, and hope they take a proactive role in protecting the city's interests over the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Seeing none, we'll ask City Clerk to continue with the agenda.
Excuse me. Ordinances for final passage. Council file number 16490, official file ordinance number 012025, appropriating the sum of $1,026.53 to be received as a program income generated in the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Fund. The program will be utilized to provide grants and low and moderate income owner occupants for repairs and improvements to their homes. Excuse me. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Troop. Councilmembers Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, Witherspoon. The council file ordinance bill number 16490, and now known as official filing ordinance number 012025, be finally passed by City Council. City Council passes official file ordinance 012025 by 7 yeas, 0 nays. Next, we have Council File Number 16491, Official Ordinance Number 022025, an ordinance amending and supplementing the codified ordinances of the City of Erie, namely Article 354, Rental Housing, specifically to amend and/or add sections that establish the rights and obligations of the owners and occupants of rental housing in the City of Erie, in particular the rights under federal, state, and local laws that apply to the landlord-tenant relationship. Sponsored by Councilmember Titus, second by Councilmember Schaaf. Councilmembers Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, and Witherspoon. The Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16491, and now known as Official File Ordinance Number 022025, be finally passed by City Council. City Council passes Official File Ordinance Number 022025 by 7 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinances for first reading. Council File Number 16492. An ordinance amending Article 101 by adding subsection 101C, authorizing a referendum on the question of studying the existing form of government and considering the advisability of the adoption of a home rule charter for the City of Erie. Sponsored by Councilmember Nelson, seconded by Councilmember Titus. Councilmembers Brzezinski.
So, discussion.
Discussion.
There was a friendly amendment to this, changing the number of commissioners from 9 to 7. So if you would amend that, that was discussed in caucus, and Tyler and I both agreed to it.
Councilman
Mr. President.
Brzezinski.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to take a good look at ourselves and see if we can move forward in a better way. I worry quite a bit that we're trying to move too quickly on it. And I will vote yes on this because it's the first reading. But if I don't get more clarity, I want to know the people that are going to be sitting in those chairs making those decisions for the City of Erie before I go any further with it. So that being said, there's a lot of good, but the devil's in the details. So as the days unwind, hopefully we'll find out more. But as of today, first reading, I'm a positive. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion?
Mr. President, I did my due diligence, and I think it's a good thing, but it's just the time between now and the primary doesn't give me enough time, and so I'm going to vote no on this.
I just wanted to comment. I'm concerned of the time restrictions, but I'm going to vote yes and hope that on the first reading and hope that the clarity that we're seeking is going to be founded. I know we're going to be having another study session so the community can come and hear that, and hopefully we'll be able to get enough word out to get people able to petition signature from February 18th until the deadline and beyond the May ballot. So we will see how this goes. I just fear that if we don't have people who are able to do that in a timely manner, then we're going to be blocked for 5 years to even attempt to do this in the future. So hopefully we're able to get enough word out and get people interested to be able to run for this board. So that's my only concern, is just the time restriction.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman.
I hope to find 7 of you that are policy-minded and intelligent, ready to do some work to explore a new charter for our city, as so many cities have failed, as well as our pension is currently distressed, but cities fail under third-class city. I would challenge anyone to find a city that's been successful since 1972 under this. There is no successful third-class city code. There's no successful third-class cities. Cities in Pennsylvania are failing. So what I'm looking for today is to find 7 of you, and I mean this to the whole public, 7 of you that can explore a new charter. Ideally ones that will set my colleagues' mind at ease and will set, more importantly, the voters at ease. Because this is returning the control of our city to our citizens. And the only thing standing between this being controlled and rewritten by our citizens today is 4 votes. And I ask my colleagues to consider being part of the 4 votes that returns control of our city to the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. My position is that I need additional information which Councilman Nelson has agreed to provide to me and to several individuals that may be interested in it. Because I cannot go out and recruit and don't know what I'm talking about or have a clear understanding the effect it may or may not have on the city. I will support it on the first reading, but we are looking for citizens who are interested in policy and understand policy. And it does provide, lack of a better term, citizen control. We know where we are today, and we're looking to move forward and make our city a lot better. So yes, I will support first reading and gather additional information. Are there any other discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes.
I would like to first thank Councilor Nelson on, quite frankly, years of work that's going by and bringing us to this point. And second, I would also just like, for transparency, for reasons, that it does not and should not be simply people that the city council approaches to ask to run. This is the city, a city initiative. And so even if you are not approached by someone on council, if you are a policy person, if you are committed and passionate about the government structure of the city of Erie, this is for you as well. And so I don't want people to be under the impression that this is a hand selected by the city council. In fact, I would argue that it should not be a hand selected by city council, that this should be something that is done by residents for residents, as this is the government structure of your city. And so if you are interested, to please come forward, and absolutely, I know any of us would avail ourselves to assist, but it is not incumbent upon us to first invite you. And I want to just make sure that that's clear and transparent to the residents of the city. This is not an invite only. In fact, I think that it should not be. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just like to, reiterate that this is at-large, citywide, nonpartisan. So you will be, going to your neighbors, going in your community, so you don't have to have any affiliation in order to serve on this board. So it's kind of nice, but if you don't know the ropes, it might be a little daunting. So don't hesitate to reach out and speak to any of us, because it is a tiring process to be on campaign mode, but to have some pointers is always great insight. So, it could be really intimidating and go up to 200 different people asking for their signature, and it's not a party affiliated type of board. So just be aware.
Mr. President?
Thank you.
May I offer an idea to Mr. Nelson? Maybe we could have a get-together here and invite folks from the city who may want to be involved, and then at that time give them the information that we want to give them so that they know what they're in for. I mean, this isn't a sit down, get myself a name on a committee, and then take a nap. This is going to be probably 18 months of pretty rigorous information getting. A lady last night kept on saying the word study, because it's a study. And we have to reach out to all the folks out there. Politics aside, this shouldn't be political at all. It should be the good of the city. And having people come here, at least we'll have faces to see who would be possibly on that committee. Thank you.
Mr. Brzezinski, I think over the course of the next 5 months, the clear response to that would be, oh, heck yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. President, just think it'd be a great idea if people would, because they're hearing this, but to educate themselves if this is going to be on, on the ballot, because you'll be voting for something that you don't really know what you're talking, what it is you're voting for. So great idea for people to educate themselves on this. Also, I hear the word study. Now, I'm an educator, and I've been educated for 28 years, but I know I really didn't like to study when I didn't like to study. So it's going to be very important. Sorry, I admit that. I have buddies that like to study. So that's going to be big to find people, like I'm a likable guy, but I didn't like to study. So you might have wanted me on your committee, but so you might want to find people who like to study. Because if you find somebody that's just likable, that doesn't mean they're going to do what they're supposed, so that's just.
To the administration, is it possible to put some home rule charter information on our website?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. If there's no further discussion, City Clerk?
Go for the first reading.
Yes. Okay. So, City Council File 16492 as amended. Councilmember Brzezinski? Nelson? Schaaf?
No.
Titus? Troop? Flores? Witherspoon? The City Council File Ordinance Number 16492 as amended, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council 6-1. Council File Number 16493, an ordinance amending Article 521 by adding subsection 521A4, parking restrictions in bike lanes as lanes of travel, to prohibit parking generally in bike lanes as lanes of travel, to continue to implement the planned expansion of the designated lanes of travel of bicyclists, to increase the safety and visibility of bicyclists, and not to provide exemptions to the prohibited parking in bike lanes. Excuse me.
Discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Once again, this was much ado about nothing. We've spent hours and hours and hours of consternation. We've had conflicting information given out to the people who actually helped build our city in these neighborhoods. It's a volatile type of situation, but this is a protection too. And again, this is the first reading, so the folks have a chance to get back and come up with some constructive changes that we couldn't do. I don't like it. I don't like any kind of a law that gives you a bunch of exclusions because it gets watered down. Yep. But we're in a crazy situation with the bike path, and actually having an ordinance is a protection for the people who live in the city. So as of now, first reading, I'm a yeah. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I just want to comment that, the city owns the street and we've made many accommodations and both sides are still not happy. So there's no middle ground that will make anybody happy. But I know that there's areas in our city that don't have any on-street parking, and the Green Garden residents have nice driveways to be able to park in. So I don't know how we're going to make everybody happy, but I'm trying to make sure that everyone in our city has ample transportation access points. And I know the bike lane is a big point of travel for our residents who are not able to afford vehicles. So I'm going to be voting no, but I've never been in favor of making these accommodations. I've always been in favor of no parking on the street, period. But that's where I stand.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
It's a shame she left already, but Ms. Faulkner, when she was on council, I think worked really hard to come up with these accommodations. I think this is the kind of compromise that the public can see is clearly compromised. You got two council members, one from each side of this issue, in disagreement, and that demonstrates that I hope that there is a majority of votes in the middle that recognize that this is an appropriate compromise that just makes a couple people on each side mad. That's good compromise. I'm not compromising for the sake of compromising, but I think this is the kind of stuff that we have to navigate with the public to make sure that the people are happy with the direction we're going. So I'll be voting in favor of it.
Any further discussion? City Clerk.
City Council number 16493, Councilmember Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores,
No.
Witherspoon. City Council file ordinance number 16493, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. City Council read and adopt City Council file ordinance number 16493 by 6 yeas, 1 nay. Council File 16494, an ordinance amending the codified ordinance of the City of Erie, Article 719.11, construction closure of sidewalks, to add Section 719.11I to exempt short-term closures by public utilities from the requirements to obtain sidewalk closure permits.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Yeah. Hey, so the next two ordinances, although she's off in the lobby now, the next two ordinances, both of them, I don't, switching from year to year with presidency and stuff, there's some stuff that, where information, I want to get more information on these. I'm going to vote for both of them on the first reading. But with this sidewalk one, this is an update on an ordinance that we created a year and a half ago. This isn't originating with council necessarily. And I understand the concerns of the utilities, but I do want to get more input from members of the public that are well informed about these issues. So I'll appreciate that input in the next 2 weeks before the final vote, as is with the exemption for the housing authority for some of the housing advocates that were at council, to get some of their input on this as well. But in both cases, these aren't necessarily originating with council, so I do want to get more information before the second reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk.
Council file number 16494, Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, Witherspoon. Council file ordinance number 16494, having been read, is hereby adopted on the first reading by City Council. City Council read and adopt City Council file ordinance number 16494 by 7 yeas, 0 nays. Council file number 16495, an ordinance amending and supplementing the codified ordinances of the City of Erie, Part 3, Title 3, Business Regulation, by amending Article 354, Rental Housing, and definition found in Section 4 in the term landlord to exclude the Housing Authority of the City of Erie from definition.
Discussion.
I do want to offer some clarification for the people that should be interested in this, and I know 20 of them left already. Because of how much HACE, the Housing Authority, works directly with HUD funding, HUD doesn't give 60 days notice for increases of rent. We required that of landlords. HACE dealing is almost exclusively, maybe exclusively, I haven't been the liaison there, to these HUD fundings doesn't have 60 days notice to give them. If they were to do that, that would be a detriment to their budget, which their budget exclusively goes towards the providing of low-income housing to people. So this is one of those spots where I am super uncomfortable on both sides of every which way. This is something where I don't view haste as something that could potentially be profiteering or predatory. So I don't look to restrict them beyond what they're currently restricted, but I also don't want to leave tenants. So I am super uncomfortable with this. So I do look forward to input in the next 2 weeks before we vote on this as a final. I'm disappointed that we lost a lot of our housing advocates and organized people over this. But I think this is probably, personally, I find this one more significant than the thing we just voted on. So, anyways, please give me input in the next 2 weeks.
Mr. President?
Councilman.
Okay, I guess if you had a little more history on your side, you would understand why this had to be done. I worked with the Housing Authority in the past on different issues. These people have it right to the ninth. They know exactly what the hell they're doing. You don't have a faulty landlord any place there. These folks are pros. They help an awful lot of people. All you have to do is drive through some of the areas, and you can see. I deliver with my wife Meals on Wheels, and we drop into a few of the places. They're all well taken care of. The people all seem happy. I think this is something that's really worthwhile to give them that exemption. They've earned it. They've earned it.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I have friends who live in housing where it is run by the Housing Authority, and I am so impressed with how the Housing Authority is run. During the snowstorm, they could go to their office and get a free bag of salt to put down. It is truly, they try to keep it as safe as possible, to get the people to get along, to follow the rules, to have family, children-friendly programs, and I've known this for years, so I am voting for this.
Any further discussion? I'd like to say that in the past, I've served on the Housing Authority Board prior to becoming a member of City Council. I could say several years ago, but it's more than several. And I served as president during the John Horan era and the Mike Fraley era. And I know many residents, and they have done an outstanding job. Also, they are a friend of City Hall, a friend of city government. Whenever we needed something, they are there. They take care of their property. If there are losses in wages, their rent decrease. And if their rent income increases, the rent increases. But they follow HUD's regulation. They must follow HUD regulation. I'm going to support this for sure.
Any
City
further
Clerk?
discussion?
Call for the question.
City Council file number 16495. Council member Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, Witherspoon. City Council Ordinance number 16495, sponsored by Councilmember Witherspoon, seconded by Councilmember Brzezinski, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. City Council read and adopt City Council File Ordinance 16495 by 7 yeas, 0 nays on first reading. That takes us to new business.
Move the balance.
I second.
The balance has been moved by Councilman Brzezinski, second by Councilwoman Perez.
Number 3, please. Separated.
Separating number 3. Any other separation? Hearing none. Clerk?
Mr. President, is this where we do a waive of rules to extend after? Thank you.
I'm sorry, who motioned to waive the balance, to move the balance?
Oh, to move the balance?
Yes.
I did, and Ms. Flores was second.
Yes, I did.
Now we vote to move the balance.
Motion to move the balance, Councilperson Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon, and Flores. Motion passes 7-0.
We're separating number 3.
Yes, we are. I am. But may I speak?
Yes, sir.
Every organization has one person, kind of like we have Renee up on the 5th floor, that we cannot live without. Gwen White is that person with Erie Events. She runs the meetings, does a fantastic job doing that, and she knows everybody. It's unbelievable. And I want to thank her personally for accepting the reappointment, because she really does a fine job. It's the only reason I wanted to bring it up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we need to vote on that.
Council will need to vote
Yeah.
on the separated item
Number
number
three.
3 under new business.
Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, Witherspoon. Motion passes 7-0.
I make a motion to waive the rules.
I'll second it. I don't know why, but I'm second.
Okay.
We have that
Appointment.
higher education authority board to put in place.
Could I ask the administration to give us a little background on that, please?
Sure. The Higher Education Building Authority exists as a requirement through the IRS. It's an authority that exists locally to hold public hearings when a a university that's located within the city wants to take out a tax-exempt bond. And so the authority holds a public hearing to take comment from residents about the projects, and then passes a resolution to enable the financing to go through. The appointments had expired. Also, as part of that authority, the city council president for that year serves in an ex officio status, as well as the city treasurer for the length of their term. And so we're seeking to reappoint that board so that they can have a public hearing later this month regarding a project that Gannon University will be undertaking.
Thank you. Any discussion from council?
No, in the email it was pretty clear why we need to waive the rules and get this appointed so they can continue on with their yearly business. There's a date coming up that they have to make sure that they're ready for, so seems, dire.
On a motion to waive the rules by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Brzezinski. Councilmember Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Flores, Witherspoon. Motion passes 7-0.
So now that we've waived the rules, we have to, now there would need to be a motion to do something.
Motion to get back to the meeting?
No, a motion to,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Okay, motion to accept.
These are for the appointments.
Does anyone have a resolution written on that to introduce? Should we just make it up on?
It would have to be verbal.
Verbally make this one up right now? Okay, so can you give me some guidance on what that should say? I'll repeat after you if that would be.
Forgive my ignorance, but I don't know exactly. I mean, I understand what we're doing. I don't understand who we're appointing.
I would like to. Yeah.
Yes.
So I would like to make a resolution from the floor, a motion from the floor, to appoint to the Board of Higher Education
Building Authority.
The following people.
Mel Witherspoon as City Council President.
Mel Witherspoon, Kaz Katowski.
And then Des McDonald. Katrina Bird. And Richard Mikowski. Who will serve full 5-year terms.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And I will second that.
It's been moved and second. Clerk?
5 years, Mel.
On a motion by Councilmember Nelson, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf, to appoint the previous named people. Councilmember Brzezinski, Councilmember Nelson, Councilmember Schaaf, Councilmember Titus, Councilmember Troop, Councilmember Flores, Councilmember Witherspoon. Motion passes 7-0. Committee reports. That takes us to committee reports.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with
Me? Okay.
Councilwoman.
I'll go first since this is the seat that I was always picking on you to go first. So I wanted to say this is the beginning of the new year, so we don't have our committee assignment, so I look forward to receiving my committee assignment. I also look forward to continuing to serve my community. Just so you are aware, the petitions drop February 18th for the May primary, which is on May 20th. I hope everyone is taking care of their minds and their bodies and implementing self-care. I know that the new year can be very exhausting because we have so much to catch up on but it just started. So at the same time, it doesn't feel like it should be a catch-up game. But when you're getting into the groove of the new year, you just have to be graceful with yourself and make sure that you're, implementing saying no. It's okay to tell people that your time is obligated elsewhere and making sure that you're prioritizing the needs that you have for yourself and your family. I wanted to say that I thank my colleagues on City Council for a successful year. We worked well together, and I look forward to the new year of serving our community and city. Thank you.
Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. I'll start with, we should not seek a seat simply to make history, but we should acknowledge it when it's made, and to acknowledge that this council broke glass ceilings in 2024. It's breaking lavender ceilings in 2025. So thank you to Councilor Flores and Schaaf. You can't be yourself if you can't see yourself, and you both created visibility and possibility through your representation, so thank you. I do look, and thank you to my colleagues. I look forward to 2025 and serving all of Erie residents and encouraging others to call Erie home. And again, to echo what Councilor Flores had just said, that we are rapidly approaching our odd year election cycle. This is going to have immediate impacts on all of our local municipalities, so making sure that we know what seats are going to be on the ballot in not just in the city of Erie, but also throughout our entire county, and that we're advocating for good candidates to run, and that we're helping make that happen, and that you're updating your voter registration as needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Tripp.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody here and all the citizens of our city. Also loved the one comment by the first citizens we heard, how he talked about even like he was living in a shelter, and he learned a lot from living in a shelter, and he talked about how great Erie is, a place that loves to help people, and I really love that comment. If we could build on that. Congratulations to former President Flores. Awesome job last year. And also Vice President Kathy Shaw. You can just feel the passion from both of them. Jasmine, it's okay to cry. I know you're ready to cry, but it's okay. Love it. And congratulations to new President Witherspoon. The wisdom that you have is just, it's definitely inspiring. And also, congratulations to Vice President Titus. Congratulations. I like being in a room you're there because I know you're going to ask questions, which is going to help me too. So thank you for that. And as we approach Dr. Martin Luther King Day coming up here pretty soon, let me leave you with this quote. He says, "The time is always right to do what is right." So that's from Dr. Martin Luther King. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Nelson.
Thanks. I want to congratulate you, Mr. President. I was trying to think the last time that a president vote has been unanimous. And I gotta go back a way. I didn't look that hard, but I can't think of, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, it's been at least 5 or 6. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's really nice that nobody wanted to do, and we all said not it for this year. No, I appreciate the vision that you've cast forward over the last couple months. I mean, this is usually something that's very divisive, and every time I've been a part of a council presidency vote, it's been divisive. Not because I've been a part of it, but even predating me. And so, the vision you've cast for what you hope to accomplish this year, the engagement that you're hoping for this year, the willingness to support us as a team this year, I'm very enthusiastic about what this year faces for us. My efforts the last couple weeks since the last council meeting have been around the home rule charter stuff. I want to be city council, and there's so many different spots that I think we've accomplished in the last couple years where city council has such a small role to play. And I'd compare this also to like CRIS. We just had one little thing to do, and then it was all out of our hands, and everyone else had to do the good, important stuff. This is another one of those issues, but I understand that it is when there's big decisions to be made, there's a lot to discuss. So, I'm happy that passed with a 6-1 vote today. I want to continue to reiterate that we need good policy-minded people in the city to make this successful. It's not city council that makes this successful. It's not the mayor that makes this successful. It's going to be the commission itself and the voters that make it successful, if it succeeds. So, I want to continue to reiterate that we need good policy-minded people willing to do this, and ideally a number of elected officials that communicate that well, constituents and residents that communicate that well, the press, thank you guys, to communicate this well so that our people can make an informed vote. And I look forward to, and I thank my colleagues for that movement of the first reading. Thank you.
Councilwoman Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Jasmine for our past year. You made vice presidency quite easy, and I would not have been able to do what you did at your young age. You definitely broke some ceilings, as they say. And Tyler and put that in good rhetoric to our people. So I'll just reiterate what he said, they said. And Tyler, congratulations. And Mr. Witherspoon, congratulations on your upcoming year. And I want to thank the people for becoming involved. And we learn from you, and your voice is heard up here. Freda, you talk about the sidewalk management all the time, and I really do think that we can do better. A friend of mine who uses a motorized vehicle, who lives downtown, is fine with our sidewalks here, but uses the device for travel. And in the winter time, it's quite difficult traveling beyond our inner circle of the city because of the way the sidewalks are managed. So we do need to do better. And I would love to see a stronger enforcement in that area. Commented on, going up to up Peach Street and, just continuing into Mill Creek, and how Mill Creek needs to do better as well. So people who have businesses definitely by now should know that winter in Erie needs to be managed by everyone. Last night I was driving home in the dark, and there was a bicyclist on East 28th Street, and you say to yourself, they shouldn't be out, but that's what transportation mode is. We don't know, not everyone has access to a car, so we need to be careful all 4 seasons, and for all the pedestrians who walk in the streets and who can't walk on the sidewalks. Everyone is important in our city. So we need to do better all 4 seasons, not just the beautiful ones. I mean, winter is beautiful, but it's not my favorite season. So I agree too with the 2nd and Holland Street. That's the street I use a lot. And if State Street's going to be closed, we need to make sure that the 4-way stop is better than the 2-way, or else those people east to west are never going to get into the north-south. So Thank you. Thank you for all the people who spoke. Also, in working with the volunteers, and thank you, Freda, for volunteering the night that I volunteered. Towels are needed at the Resilience Center. They're doing an awesome job, but they need towels. So those people out there, you don't have to maybe donate a brand new towel, but if your towel's better than the ones that they were using, that would be a nice gift. So looking forward to this year ahead. It looks like it's going to bring some changes. I've always considered myself, progressive thinking as far as, moving forward. But I'm a slow learner. It took me into my 50s before I ran for city council. So what I like about education, and I was in kindergarten for 21 years, and now I'm teaching. Well, I was actually in education for over 40 years, but I was a kindergarten teacher for 20 years. But see, you cannot label anyone right on the spot because, toddlers grow up, with, they have problems when they're little, and then they end up being a CEO. You just, it's a process. Everything is a process. Everything is a movement. And, some read slower than others. So anyways, we had that study session last night, and, she did talk about the mountains of work involved, the read. But, so, in Part G, it says, membership in a study commission does not necessarily imply expertness. Wisdom, practical judgment, and amateur enthusiasm are a fundamental to a successful commission, as are legal, social, and political expertise. And that's sort of how I considered when I, first initially wanted to be on council. I didn't have necessarily all the political science book knowledge, but I did have the enthusiasm. And so I just want everybody to carry out your enthusiasm throughout this year, because you can make a difference, even though, we all have different things to bring to the table. We know that. We all have gifts. And I thank the people who have the gifts of speaking, because that's not my forte. But Happy New Year. Thank you.
Councilman Brzezinski.
Yeah, Mr. President. Ms. Schaaf, thank you very much. I used to be embarrassed. It took me 15 years to get out of first grade. But if you were in kindergarten for 21, I'm doing okay. Okay, levity aside. Ms. Flores and Ms. Schaaf, you both know how I feel, so I'm not going to repeat a whole bunch of stuff. And you give me things to talk about. I totally agree with Kathy when she says that folks sometimes need bicycles to go where they're going. Please think about getting light-colored clothes, or even buy some tape that's reflecting and put it on your black coat. But don't drive down the street with a hoodie, with a black bike, and then just pray that nobody hits you. Because Mr. Spoon and I almost saw that happen pretty close to 28th and Parade. It's a two-way street, and that's a big thing. Moving on a little bit here, my liaison work is not done. It's exciting. The Port Authority should be able to make an announcement after today's meeting about great exceptions and improvements to the 8th grade Tuesdays. I won't go any further with that until they tell you what those improvements are going to be, but they're exciting. The other thing that we have going with Mr. Titus is we're trying to save the zoo. So with the Erie Event Center, my other liaison, and Mr. Titus putting proposals together to make it happen, I think we're on the right road to making that happen. I want to congratulate Mr. Witherspoon. I don't know who nominated you, but probably a good idea, 7-0, huh?
Someday.
Same with Ty. I'm looking forward to a good year, and I already said Happy New Year before the New Year, but I'll say it again. Please stay healthy, and think about light-colored clothes if you're going to be on a bicycle, or even the motorized wheelchairs. If they're dark, they can't be seen. You know, the last thing in the world we would want is anybody hitting somebody like that. That's the bottom line. So anyway, I am done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank Councilwoman Perez once again for her leadership and strong will for bringing us through another year. I'd like to say to my colleagues, I need you. I need your support. When you think I'm wrong, you let me know. Councilman Nelson, he will do that. And that's good. And that's good. I am not a I president. You will never hear me say, I did this, I did this. I'm a we president. I have a very, very strong and capable vice president. We've had a meeting, and I'm impressed. And I told him I will be giving him some duties that out of my 22 years serving city council, duties were never given to the vice president. Only if the president is absent, then he or she will sit in. He has the leadership ability. He's willing to work, and he will be my right and left arm. And I'm looking forward to it, sir.
Just for the record, Mr. President?
Yes.
Length of meetings, President Flores 1, Mel Witherspoon 0. We got more to go, though.
I think you're going to have a hard time keeping up on that, hour and a half meeting time frame that I described.
With that, I'll shut up. Anything from our attorney?
I have nothing.
Administration.
Yes, I have just 4 things. Happy New Year. Look forward to working with you all in 2025. I just wanted to start off quickly by saying and bringing recognition to the fact that the city was able to bring in $28.8 million in grants this year in 2024 through the state and federal government. That's funding that was much needed, that is going towards equipment and technology, capital improvement projects, watershed restoration, stormwater projects, street reconstruction, bikeways, sidewalks, street signals, recycling and composting projects, refuse electronic vehicles, economic development initiatives, bulletproof vests, motorcycles, and e-bikes for the police department, vehicles, body-worn cameras, license plate readers, the Real-Time Crime Center, SWAT regional command vehicles, crisis communications van, traffic investigation vehicles, police salaries and overtime, DNA testing kits, drug and alcohol prevention, auto theft and cold case investigations, insurance fraud investigations, the Police Athletic League, the Community-Oriented Policing Initiative, the bomb squad equipment, virtual reality training, driver simulation technology, reestablishing the K-9 unit, implementing crisis teams, conducting energy efficiency audits, purchasing fire trucks and code enforcement vehicles, investing in small home repair projects for residents and blighted property acquisition and remediation, engaging in planning and funding the wastewater treatment plant chlorination project. All of these grants are a team effort, from the staff who help with writing them, to those who help with administration and project management, to those who pass the resolutions and ordinance, and those in the community who write letters of support to our federal and state representatives and the bodies that grant this funding. So I just want to say that, you know, these are all things that we're able to do that we would not be able to do through the general fund budget. And we still have another $24 million in grants that we applied for in 2024 that we've not heard about yet, so there may be more coming. I also wanted to alert residents that tomorrow at the mayor's 10 a.m. press conference, we'll be opening the flagship fund grant program for applications once again. We will have more information tomorrow and on the city's website, but just quickly, for those who are not familiar, this was a micro grant program that the city started in 2018. These are provided through the interest that comes off of the revolving loan funds that the city has for economic development. The grants will be up to $5,000 for small businesses located within city limits. The funding can be used for things like facade improvements, capital improvements in the interior, equipment, supplies, furniture, fixtures, marketing, websites, all manner of things to help with business improvement, job retention, and creation. The grants require a one-to-one match. So if the applicant is applying for $5,000, then they need to spend $5,000 of their own, so it's a $10,000 project. Usually the projects exceed that $10,000 amount, so we're leveraging additional investment, and the grants are done through reimbursement. So once the applicant spends the funding, then they submit receipts for reimbursement. We'll be opening the application tomorrow, and that will be open for about a month, and then we'll review and make awards. Third, on the home rule charter, I just wanted to provide, for those who weren't able to watch the study session last evening, just a little bit of additional clarification, and some of this was touched on earlier. But if the commission passes, this is an 18-month project, 2 meetings per month minimum, to study for 9 months other forms of government, what works, what doesn't work, things that might work well for Erie, ways to change the city structurally, but also tax structure. In addition to that, there will be a lot of time involved with community outreach and engagement. In several other communities, there were issues with perhaps not enough people running, and so when that happened, they didn't have enough people to fill out the commission, and the measure failed, and so they were not able to then move forward, and then they have to wait 5 years before they can try again. Another issue that's come up in some communities is that maybe they get 7 people to form the commission, but because it's such a rigorous time period, if somebody drops off, then we don't have 7 people to fill the commission. So what I would like is if we would have more people than 7 run. It would be great if we had like 13 people, 11 people, a larger number, so that any who are not elected can serve as alternates, so that we make sure that we're covered throughout the entire length of the process. It's going to be a very important role for the members of the commission, but also for the residents to be informed. And community engagement is going to be a big piece of that for all of us. So I just wanted to mention that. And then finally, regarding the first reading of the 4th ordinance for the Housing Authority of the City of Erie, I just wanted to provide a little bit of clarification on that, as well as Council President Witherspoon mentioned. The Housing Authority does strictly follow the HUD guideline. And what that is that they are able to increase or reduce rent within 30 days based on the income of the residents. So this, of course, this is low-income affordable housing, quality affordable housing, and so they make those adjustments. The residents know that those adjustments are made when they're received into housing authority property. This benefits the residents as much as it does the authority and allows them to run on a rather tight budget to meet the needs of their residents. So thank you for voting yes on first reading, and if you need more information, let us know.
At this time, meeting's adjourned.